The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome to the Senior Show with co-hosts Neil Himmelstein and Tim Kennedy, where we are two wild and aging guys. Where are you, Tim? You're like distant today. What's going on?
This housing responsibility. I have this house I need to maintain. I'm waiting for a couple people to come to the house.
Understood.
And, fix it up. But hey, it's Memorial Day weekend, Neil.
I know, it's exciting.
Yeah, so this is good stuff. The sun is out. Everything's good. Looking forward to a great weekend.
Yeah, me too. You know, we were going to have a cardiologist here. I was all excited to have a heartbeat going bum, 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 bum. But anyhow, I think it's important because I know of two people this week. You know, the father, his daughter had a stroke at 31, a mini stroke, and they found that he had a hole in her heart. And one of the coworkers of my son, 42 years old, woman had a heart attack at 42 years old. And I'm hearing more and more of this. Heart health is so important. And it's not just important for seniors, although it's more important for seniors, let's say younger people, because of our aging and that heart muscle ages. Yep. And I really wanted to talk in depth about a couple different areas.
Yeah. Well, I have friends as well with family history, and it's very important with individuals that know that their fathers or grandfathers or mothers or grandmothers had heart issues or heart ailments and stuff like that they need to be checked out on a regular basis as well.
Yeah, family history is very important, and
the family history is huge.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the medical profession today, unfortunately, it's the state of things. Our regular doctor, a lot of people don't even have regular doctors. Okay, that's number one. And the younger generation, I noticed, because I'm older and, I have a younger generation, they're used to going to these, I don't want to call them clinics, urgent care. They go,
urgent care.
I see a lot of people, okay, I got a cold, I'm going to go to urgent care. I got to,
Well, you know why, Neil? Because you can't get a primary care physician anymore.
Well,
and if you do, it's a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 month wait.
Right. So it's a problem. And then when you do get a primary care physician, a lot of them are paid by these HMOs so that it's a numbers game to them. So they'll do a basic checkup. Some of them will do a great job. But they don't necessarily recommend you go to a cardiologist and have a regular cardiology checkup.
Well, you know what happens, Neil, is they're spending a lot more time in the office with the more senior patients that they have because they have more ailments.
Right.
And then somebody like me goes in there that doesn't necessarily have any issues that I know of.
Right.
But, I walk into that office, I sit in that room, I put on the gown, right? I sit there. My primary care comes in, talks to me for 5 minutes. How you feeling? How you doing? How's the family? And walks out the door because she has more pressing patients that she really needs to address. But, my concern may be overlooked, right? Because right now I feel great. But
right.
Who knows what the ticking time bomb is?
Well, that's the thing. So, and there's great TV commercials about whether I don't know if the product works or not. I don't have it about. Oh, do you know how your heart's doing? And I love that commercial because it brings to light. You could be driving down your car and a red light goes on. You go, oh, I better address that. But you don't know. Like you said, your heart could be messed up. And I could tell from personal experience. Last year, my heart was always fine. I went to the cardiologist for a different reason. Next thing you know, I had 2 stents. It was like, wait a minute, I didn't know I had a heart issue. But I wasn't seeing a cardiologist every year or every 6 months, as a regular course of my maintenance. We go and get our oil changed, but we don't check on our heart on a regular basis. I think that's...
So, Neil, I've been blessed with family history.
Gotcha.
So I have a brother that at a very young age had stents put in. I think he was maybe just a couple of years over 30. I had a first cousin that had stents put in, and then my dad at 59 had a quadruple bypass.
Wow. So heart health is very important, and I can't stress it enough, and I really wanted to talk to him about it. But the other topic with regards to that is eating. And first off, processed foods, the food that we eat and our eating habits from an early age, it's getting worse and worse over time, which is why I think that you're seeing much more younger people having issues. And that starts with all our food today, or most of it, is genetically modified. Even the fruits and vegetables, genetically modified. We joked a couple weeks ago about watermelons and how...
That's right, the seedless watermelons. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I looked at the listing when I bought a watermelon the other day. I didn't even see seeded watermelons. They were all seedless. It's like everything's a seedless watermelon. Well, what happened to the old watermelon where I could spit out the seeds?
That was right. That was the fun part of eating watermelon, is spitting the seeds out. See how far you can spit them across the room.
Right. So, but that's real. So, and all our food is so processed. I'm sorry. I'm at the airport here. There's dogs everywhere. They must be sniffing out drugs. We're doing a training session. It's very distracting. I'm sorry to say that. We record here at MacArthur Airport, and it's just, I don't know what's going on here, but very interesting things going around me.
Maybe they're looking for me, Neil.
Yeah, it could be. You're not here today. So, anyhow, the food that we eat is genetically modified. So we have to be careful about what we eat and not wait and say until we have a heart attack and say, whoa, you got to watch what you eat. No, this has to be done at early ages, which it's not done. And we're not taught nutrition the way we should be taught nutrition on how to eat is so important. We are taught from an early age, finish your food, eat your plate, finish your food, finish your food. So I learned this later in life, and what I do is I use smaller plates.
That's right.
Okay? A very simple thing. My mind is full. I'm full with a smaller plate. It sounds stupid, and I use smaller utensils. Why do I use a tablespoon when I eat ice cream? Let me use a teaspoon and put it in a tiny bowl, and I feel just as filled as if I had a tablespoon in a big bowl and my belly felt all full.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I use
tiny habits.
I eat ice cream, Neil. I use a spackle bucket, right? That's how much ice cream I eat. So you're right. Smaller dishes, smaller portions. And pace. And then the other thing I do, Neil, like if I know I'm going out to dinner tonight and I'm going to have a meal and a dessert and everything else, I'll watch and be diligent about what I'm eating during the course of the day. I won't have a big breakfast or a crazy lunch and snacks during the day, knowing, what I'm going to do to myself tonight at dinner. So right. A lot of us out there, we're eating, we're snacking, we're sedentary. And then tonight or Memorial Day weekend or a holiday weekend, now you're at the barbecues and you're at the dinners and it's just a spiraling downward. And then you wake up Monday, Tuesday morning and say, man, I feel like crap.
Right.
Well, gee whiz, I wonder why.
So we're talking about heart health and the importance of eating right and eating habits. Very important. And regular checks. And the environment. All these things contribute to our health. And this is so important because as we live longer, and hopefully that we've addressed these issues, these longevity issues and health issues, everything comes into play in health and wealth. If you're not healthy and you go on this spiral of poor health, it will drain your wealth as well and your overall well-being and dealing with family matters and create a situation where in an emergency basis, hey, Tim, can I borrow money off my house, right?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. This isn't heart-related, so to speak, but it is, a health situation. I'm working with a client now. The husband has been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And they're in a home in Suffolk County, Long Island, with 10 steps just to get into the house, 3 steps to get up into the kitchen, 3 steps to get up into the bathrooms and the bedrooms. And this gentleman is real close to being confined to a wheelchair. And we're now in the process of looking for a home with the use of a reverse mortgage.
Wow, that's an interesting thing. You're listening to the main senior show, right? Where you got these two wild and aging guys. And Tim, how can people get a hold of you and tell me what you're all about?
Yeah, Neil, Tim Kennedy, your certified reverse mortgage professional, and you me at 567-96040.
And I'm Neil Himmelstein. The best way to reach me, 631-647-4694, president of Main Street Planning Group. We're an insurance, annuity, disability, long-term care, and life settlement wholesaler, as well as broker for you. And we're going to be right back after this quick break. Thank you. Welcome back to the Senior Show with co-hosts Neil and Tim. We are two wild and aging guys. Wow,
so,
Tim.
Neil, last segment, we talked a lot about heart health and general health, in general. And the biggest concern now, and listen, I'm in that demographic where every day I'm speaking to older Americans.
Right.
On their finances and reverse mortgages as a tax-efficient retirement income tool. And just before break, I was telling you about a client that I have now where the husband has Parkinson, and they are looking to relocate and right-size their home into a home that's one level, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, den area, so they can make their lives easier.
Right.
For her husband to be mobile in their own home and in and out of that home.
Right. It's a big deal.
And it's good for them that they're in the process of making these changes now because they want to be prepared.
Right.
So this is something that has changed their lives. And Neil, you and I talk all the time about change. And the whole purpose of our radio show is for us to help people out there, because, we have connections and we have the background and experience to make these changes with peace of mind,
right?
And helping these people, coordinate whatever may be happening in their lives, right? To make it that much less of a burden in the future. Well, this particular couple, they have money in the bank. They have a house that's relatively free and clear, and they're going to sell their home, use a percentage of the proceeds from the sale of this home to purchase their next home that satisfies their wants and needs,
right,
without the obligation of a principal and interest payment, and they get to keep a pretty good percentage of that money from the sale of their existing home in the bank. Because you have to remember, Neil, right, and you know this better than I do, for most of us homeowners, 70% of our net worth is tied up in our homes,
right,
and we're counting on that money to live off of in retirement.
Now here's another big thing that's occurring that I read in the newspaper this week. More and more today than ever, you have seniors bringing in their adult children. Instead of downsizing and moving to smaller homes, their children can't afford homes here on Long Island, and now instead of downsizing, they're upsizing and renovating their homes to account for multi-generations. This is not just a economic shift. This is a social economic shift. Because back in the day when we were kids, you saw a lot of multi-generational situations where people grew up near and around their family. Then you saw a big shift and change. I know in my family where my parents had 5 boys, and we lived in 5 different states. And then when my mom passed and my dad needed long-term care because my mom was his primary caregiver, managing my father and his long-term care needs was quite insane because we lived in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. We were all over the country. And now we're seeing another shift because of the economic situation where people are upgrading their home to accommodate more people and more housing. And it's a new challenge. And we can help you in a lot of different ways in helping, whether it's helping it finance it by taking out an equity line, a reverse equity line if you're a senior, or a forward mortgage if you're not. But we see a lot of people using the value of their home maybe to buy a home for their children, or so they have a homestead nearby, that type of thing. So some really interesting things that you should consult us with about, hey, your life's changing. How do we prepare for it? The other thing we do, we talk a lot about prior to being ill, of doing a home equity line and getting long-term care insurance and or life insurance to protect that asset while you're young.
I was just going to mention that, Neil.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention that, Neil, for you to discuss and bring up, the life insurance and long-term care and how that would fit into a plan.
Well, long-term care is essential today. It's a crisis. Because they can medically keep us alive much longer than ever, if you take care of yourself and you go to the doctor regularly. I'm going to go back to the heart segment. If you do the right things and you do eat properly, and you can go 90, 100, 110 now, where you couldn't in the past. But it's not without maybe needing some help around the house because, hey, you can't lift up the packages. You can't drive maybe. Maybe you can't bathe yourself. You can't feed yourself. But you're still living a life. And you want to stay in your home. And to get aides to come into your home is very expensive. It's very intrusive. And if you need to go to a different situation, like your Parkinson people, maybe it gets so bad that they need to go to an assisted living place or a rehab place or a nursing home, God forbid, that gets extremely expensive. And if you have a long-term care policy, it can pay those expenses. And the nice thing about long-term care policies, whether it's a hybrid, whether there's all kinds of different ways of buying long-term care today, is the money comes out tax-free. It could pay you either cash or it could pay your provider. A lot of these providers have agreements with massive provider contracts, which is a big deal that nobody talks about. Hey, I want to get into the nursing home. I don't want to get into any nursing home. I want to get into one that's a mile from my house. Well, if you have a policy, you have a golden ticket. If you don't have a policy and you're relying on Medicaid, they're going to send you wherever the heck they want to, whatever's cheapest for them, which is typically not the best care and could be 2 hours away from your home.
Right. Yeah. Well, the gist of all of it is, Neil, right, is looking into this, all these different products and resources before calamity hits, right? So I was just on a call prior to this show. I was on a call with a 67-year-old man. I mean, I was on a Zoom call. He looked great, looked healthy. God bless him. But he's having conversations now with his financial advisor, with an elder law attorney, with me, regarding his house and his retirement portfolio. And I believe he does have insurances. But he's getting it all together now at 67, where he seems and appears to be relatively healthy.
Smart.
Because he knows as time goes on, he may not be this healthy in the future.
That's right. And now it's like, and I like to compare it to, if I knew my house was going on fire tomorrow, would I buy fire insurance? And heck yeah. If I could, right? But that's the problem. Most people will call after they've gotten sick or after they have problems and say, hey, I want to get this thing because they could see the light that, hey, I have a possibility of being really sick in the near future, but so does the insurance company. So they say, not so fast.
Yeah. Oops.
Now, another thing that's disregarded a little bit in long-term care planning is actually life insurance, because let's say you can't get long-term care insurance because you have these physical impairments, but you could still get life insurance. Well, not a bad thing. Strategy, not the ultimate. No strategy is like airtight, perfect once you have some impairments. But the life insurance could leave an asset there for your spouse after the fact to help take care of her needs or his needs if you should pass. So it's really, everything goes hand in hand, and you really need a comprehensive plan, and that's what we help you do at Main Street Planning Group. I'm Neil Himmelstein. The music had come on, and we're running out of time. Best way to reach me is 631-647-4694, or visit me at themainstreetcode.com, or speak to my friend Tim Kennedy here. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah,
how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, man, you can reach me at 516-729-6040, or you can reach me at refer.com.
Fantastic. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.